Hey there, this is going to be a tutorial for a simple part in SolidWorks. Before we even open the part, we are going to take a look at what we're building. Most of the time, this is going to be freelance, but in my scenario, we are going to be building the part off of reference. So here it is. The first thing we want to take a look at is the units it's in, and it is in IPS. And so we are going to go back to SolidWorks really quick, and we are going to click this page. This is, I guess I could try Control-N. I've never done that before. Look at that. So we look here, and there's part, assembly, or drawing. Part is to make a 3D object. Assembly is to put all those 3D objects together. And then drawing, I'm not really sure. I don't want to mislead you, but there's the definition. So we're going to click part because that's what we're going to be making today, a single object. And we're going to have to wait for it to load. And then you're going to find your units right here on the bottom right. Oop, not my calendar. Right here on the bottom right. IPS, MMGS, so on and so forth. We're going to be using IPS today. And we're going to have to start out by looking at the plane we want to draw on. And in my case, I want to draw on the front plane and make sure that my origin is in the bottom left of the rectangle I first draw. So we're going to click the space bar and we're going to click the front plane. There's several shortcuts around SolidWorks. One of them is to get to the front plane using Control-1, but that's for another day. It's important to get good at the shortcuts, but right now we're just going to be pretty rudimentary. So as you see, I went to the Sketch tab and I clicked this rectangle. There are several other rectangles, but this will be your main staple. I didn't mean to click that one. We're just going to delete that. And we're going to now give this some dimension. So we're going to go to our picture and we're going to look at the base and the height. Let's first do our base. Our base is 3.3 inches. So let's go back. And if you notice, make sure that you know where your origin is at all times. It might be essential. Really quick, I'm going to be using this wheel right here to get to all of my basic tools. This is Smart Dimension up here. This is a very important tool. Smart Dimension lets you accredit an entity with a length or something of that nature. Here's rectangle, line, circle. Right now, we're going to use Smart Dimension. So we're going to go up for Smart Dimension while holding right click. And then we're going to type 3.3. Nice. And now we're going to do the height, which is, I'm pretty sure, was 2 inches. Let's go back. B is, yes, in fact, 2 inches. Now, if we look closely, we will see that every line around our rectangle is black. And that is actually a good thing. That means that everything is defined. If it is blue, that means it's undefined, and you have to define it somehow. The way I like to see how something is undefined is, I was like, that's blue. Let me just give a tug on this to see what is not dimensioned. So I see that it is the horizontal line that needs to be dimensioned. So I'm just going to place back that Smart Dimension that I removed. And now it is fully defined once more. And if we rotate this by holding the middle scroll wheel, I don't know if that's the same for everybody, that's how it is for me, we will see that this sketch is actually an infinitesimally thin object. So now we want to give that object some, let's just say base. I don't know, let's just give this object a base. So we're going to go back and we're going to see how deep we need this. We need this 2.25 inches. So we're going to go over here and type 2.25 inches. It is important to note where your origin is at all times, especially if this is of importance for your project. Our origin in this case is going to be on the front plane in the bottom left. So as you can see, that's on the back plane right now. So we're going to hit this button to flip it, and just like that, it's there. on our front plane. And this whole toolbox will become very necessary for future endeavors. But right now we're just going to do blind, and blind means we can measure it to any length that we need. So 2.25 is the base we need, and so we're going to go back and check out what's next. So if we look here, we notice that on the front plane there is a cut that's the shape of an upside down step. At least that's how I like to think of it. It's easier if you look at this back plane right here, just like this. And so we're actually going to draw that onto the front plane of our guy. So I'm going to hit Control 1, just like that, we're there. And then we're going to hit this, and that'll be our plane of reference. It is always important to have a good plane of reference for your sketch. And then I'm going to draw this all wacky so I can show you the power of referencing items. So usually when you start sketching, there might be 1 or 2 black lines. In my scenario, there's 2 because I referenced this to the top and the right edge. But there are still several blue lines. If you look at that just like this, you can see obviously very blue and very movable. That is not what we want. So we're going to smart dimension. Actually, no, we're not going to smart dimension. I didn't mean to say that. First, we know that all of these lines are either straight or right angles. So we know that this is parallel to every other horizontal line. So we're going to make this parallel, and we know that this line is vertical. So we're actually, oops, didn't mean to do that. So we're just going to click on it with our control click and make it vertical. But I don't know if you caught this. I'm going to do this here. When you're making a reference with 2 or more entities, you're going to control click and hold the control until you've selected all the entities. And now we've done that. We're going to make those parallel. Hit escape because we're done. And then just as a neat little thing I want to show you, we're going to click this line and this line. Then if we look, we can make them perpendicular. And just like that, every line will stay straight. Oops, stay straight and nice when I pull on one of the corners. If we go back, we'll start dimensioning. The bottom right horizontal line is 1.75 inches. That was an accident. So we're going to go to our smart dimension, type in 1.75, and then let's Alt-Tab. Yes, and when I'm flipping screens, I'm pressing the Alt-Tab. I'm new to it, but it's a lot of fun. And we notice that the distance from the left edge to this line right here is 0.75 inches. So we can actually click this edge and we can click this edge. So it is saying that we want this line amount of distance from this edge. So we want it 0.75. And now we're going to have that with a depth of 0.5. And the final one being this reference right here, 0.75. Oops. There we go. And then we're going to go to Features, Extrude Cut. And I don't know if you remember me saying earlier about this box right here, about the tools that we can exercise. So we're going to click through all. And as its name suggests, it's going to cut through all of the objects in front of it. And then there's a cut through all both, which cuts through all both ways. Very self-explanatory. And now, if we go back to our picture, our drawing in this case, we have one more cut to do, and then we're done. If we notice, this is a 1 inch by 1 inch square, so let's not mess with flipping in between this picture. And we notice it's on the top plane. So let's look at this wheel of ours. We have wheels in different scenarios. In our sketch, we have a line, a smart dimension, circle, so on. But when we're just in the features, we actually have all of these. And this is your top view, left view, right view, bottom view, so on and so forth. So let's go to our top view by right-clicking, holding right-click and moving up. Then we're going to go to our sketch, corner rectangle. we're going to click on this plane as our reference, and it's actually going to readjust us. It's really nice. And then we said earlier that it's a 1 inch by 1 inch. And then one more. And then we knew that it cut through all, so we didn't have to mess with flying around. And we could just do the blind with its 2.25 inches, but that will do it. And so I'm going to press Control 7 for an isometric view, and then we're going to have to go back and see what material we're made out of. That was funny. Not everything needs to be made out of material, just for this scenario we do. And it's a helpful skill to have. So if we look, it is 2014 alloy. And we're going to click it, apply, and then that's our final step. Now we're going to check if everything checks out. So we're going to go to Evaluate, Mass Properties, and look that our volume is 8.28 inches. There are several things to check if you're correct, but in this one, it's volume and center of mass. So if we scroll down, 8.28 cubic inches, great. And then our X is 1.14, 0.75, negative 1.18, great. Wait, yep, all right, that matches. So that is everything, and this is a functional part that has had a very slow tutorial, and I hope that was good enough. All right, goodbye. Thank you for watching.